Welcome to CultureAlley Mandarin. Ni hao. This is Basic Mandarin Lesson 3. Let's start by reviewing the tones one last time. Remember that one way of learning the tones and their symbols is to see that the symbol for the tone is almost identical to the tone itself. Let's take a look at the tones and their examples. The high-level tone is denoted by a high bar. And like its name, the mid-rising tone goes from the middle to the top. The V shape of the falling rising tone is indicative of its intonation. And finally, the falling tone has a downward slant, indicating the sharp fall that it usually takes. Great! Now let's take a look at the vocabulary we've learned so far. We will cover the various forms of ma and also the vocabulary for saying hello. Let's begin. Mother translates to ma, and hemp translates to ma. Horse translates to ma, and scold translates to ma. Informally, you translates to ni, while formally you translates to nin. Good simply translates to hao. Did you remember all of them? Great! Let's take a minute and review the different forms of hello we learned in the last lesson. Informally, hello translates to ni hao and is said in the falling rising tone. Informally, hello translates to nin hao, where nin is spoken with a mid-rising tone and hao with a falling rising tone. Great! Now that we've reviewed, let's move on to today's lesson. Today, we will learn some more basic greetings in Mandarin. By now, you know how to say hello in Mandarin. Let's take a look at some other greetings such as how are you, I'm good, etc. Let's begin by looking at some of the vocabulary we'll use today. As we know, you translates to ni, and good translates to hao. Let's learn a new word, ma. Ma is a question particle. We'll learn how it is used in the following slides. Let's start with the basic one. How are you? How are you is literally translated as you good in Mandarin. We already know that ni hao translates to you good. All we need to do now is make a question out of it. To convert ni hao into a question, we only need to add the question particle ma to it. Let's learn how to pronounce ma. As a question particle, ma is pronounced using a neutral tone, which carries a soft falling sound, as if the sound is fading away. Can you try and say ma? Once again, it's ma. Great! Now let's try it in a question. How are you translates to ni hao ma, which literally means you good? Remember that in ni hao, ni is spoken using the second tone, so it becomes ni hao ma. Great! So remember that ma is a question particle, and adding it to the end of a sentence makes a statement into a question. Let's move on. It's important to note that ma is usually used in simple yes or no questions. For example, ni hao ma. That translates to you good, can simply be answered by saying either yes or no. This is important as we will encounter more than one type of question particles in Mandarin. So remember that ma is pronounced using a neutral tone, which carries a soft falling sound, as if the sound is fading away. Now that we know all the pronunciations, let's try saying "How are you?" in Mandarin. Can you try saying 你好吗? It is said using a mid-rising tone for 你 and a falling rising tone for 好 and a neutral tone for the question particle ma. Can you say that again? 你好吗? Wonderful! Alright, it's quiz time now. Let's see if you remember what we've learned till now. Answer the questions by choosing the right option. How do we say, "How are you?" in Mandarin? Would we say, 你好吗? Or would it be, 你好吗? Or simply, 你好吗? The correct way of saying "How are you?" is 你好吗? Good job! Now that we've learned how to say "How are you?", let's learn some common responses to the question. As you know, "How are you?" translates to 你好吗? Which literally translates to "You good?" A common response to "You good?" then becomes "I am very good" or "I am very well." Let's learn the vocabulary for saying these sentences. We shall start by giving an overview of the vocabulary and go into the pronunciations one by one. So let's begin. I, or me, translates to 我. Very translates to 很. Good translates to 好. Also, or to, translates to 也. And the to be verb, meaning and including is, am, are, translates to 是. Now that we are slightly familiar with the words, let's go over them one by one, learning their pronunciations and tones. Let's start with I. I, or me, translates to 我, and it is pronounced using a falling, rising tone. Let's try and say 我. Once again, it is said with a falling, rising tone, also known as the third tone, like 我. Great! Let's move on. Very translates to 很 and is also pronounced using a falling, rising tone. Let's try that one more time. 很 is said with a falling, rising tone, or the third tone. It's 很. Did you get that right? All right then, let's learn the next word. Good translates to 好, and it is also pronounced using a falling, rising tone. We've learned this word before. Can you say 好? It is said with a falling, rising tone, also known as the third tone, like 好. Good job! Let's learn the last word on the list. To be verb, including is, am, are, etc., translates to 是. 是 is pronounced using a falling tone, or the fourth tone. Can you try and say 是? It is said with a falling tone, also known as the fourth tone, like 是. Good job! Now that we know how to pronounce these words, let's use them in a sentence. Let's start with I am very good. Let's break up the sentence into individual words and see what we get. I translates to 我. Very translates to 很, and good translates to 好. Am literally translates to 是. But in this sentence, we do not translate am, because in Mandarin, is, am, are, etc. are not used with adjectives. So remember, we did not translate am in the last sentence. Unlike English, in Mandarin, the to be verb 是 is not used with adjectives such as good, bad, etc. Therefore, I am very good translates to 我很好. That literally translates to I very good. Let's try that again. 我很好. Great! So I am very good or I am very well translates to 我很好. So remember that very good translates to 很好, while I am very good translates to 我很好, because am is not used with adjectives. Great! It's quiz time now. Let's see if you remember what we've learned till now. What does how are you translate as? Does it translate as 你好吗? Or to 你好? Or does it become 我很好? How are you translates to? That's correct. 你好吗? Good. Let's look at another one. In Mandarin, what does I am very good translate to? Pick the right one. Is it 你好? Or will it be 我是很好? Or is it 我很好? I am very good translates to 我很好. Wonderful! Let's move on to another response. While responding to how are you, you would often say, I am very good, and you? Let's see how you can say this in Mandarin. Now you know that I am very good translates to 我很好. To additionally ask, and you, we will need to learn a new question particle, ne. Just like ma, ne uses a neutral tone and is pronounced using a soft falling sound, as if the sound is fading away, like ne. Let's try and pronounce it one more time. It's like ne. Good job! Let's learn a little bit about ne. Ne is also a particle used to convert statements to questions. It is used to make questions in a situation where the context is already known. Ne is usually added at the end of a question. For example, Nina translates to, and you? A common example here is when you wish to repeat a question that was just asked. Let's take an example. On your screen is the breakup of the sentence, I am good, and you? Since we already know the translation of I am good, we can conclude that Nina supplies the meaning to and you. Let's look at it one more time. Nina translates to and you. The reason we use ne here is that we are answering the question, how are you? By saying, I am good, and you? And you here marks the repetitive nature of the question. Thus, I am very good, and you? Translates to, 我很好, Nina. Did you get that? It's 我很好, Nina. Remember that am is not translated along with adjectives in Mandarin. Let's move on to the last sentence for today. You can reply to I am good and you by saying I am also very good. For this, we will need to learn how to say also. So let's get started. Also translates to yeah, and it is pronounced using a falling rising tone. Can you try and say yeah? It is said with a falling rising tone, also known as the third tone, like yeah. Well done. Now let's use it in a sentence. On your screen is the word-for-word translation of the sentence, I am also very good. The word order here is the same as that in English. Since we know all the words, putting them together individually would get us 我也很好. Let's try saying that again. 我也很好. Well done. Here's a quick grammar tip for you. In Mandarin, we can just say also very good instead of saying I am also very good. Let's see how that would sound. Also very good translates to 也很好 and conveys the same meaning as I am also very good. So once again, it's 也很好. Great! Now it's time to test your language learning skills. Let's see if you remember what we learned today. How do we say, I am also very good in Mandarin? Do we say, 你很好吗? Or do we say, 你也很好? Or is it, 我也很好? I am also very good translates to the third option, which is 我也很好. Good. What tone does 也 carry? Does it carry the high level tone? Or is it the falling rising tone? Or does it carry the mid-rising tone? 也 carries the falling rising tone and is pronounced as 也. Hope you got that one right. Let's move on to the next one. What tone does n carry? Does it carry the neutral tone? Or the falling tone? Or the high level tone? Pronounced as n, it carries the neutral tone. Well done. We're done for the day, but let's quickly go over the vocabulary we've learned today. I, or me, translates to 我. Very translates to 很. Good translates to 好. Also, or to, translates to 也. To be verb, including is, am, are, translates to 是. N is a question particle for repetitive questions. And finally, ma is a question particle for yes or no type questions. Great work! Let's practice. Mark and Lisa are out having a conversation in Mandarin. Let's first look at the conversation in English and then in Mandarin.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm very good. And you?
I'm also very good.
Now, let's hear them have this conversation in Mandarin.
你好。
你好。
你好吗？
我很好。你呢？
也很好。
Wonderful. That'll be all for today. And now comes the most interesting part of our voyage, the culture leaf. In today's culture leaf, we shall learn about yin and yang. The concept of yin and yang, or in pinyin, yin yang, originates in ancient Chinese philosophy, which describes two opposing but complementary forces found in all things in the universe, literally meaning shadow and light. The photograph shows the yin and yang icon symbolized by various forms of the Taijitu symbol. Many natural dualities, such as dark and light, female and male, low and high, cold and hot, water and fire, earth and air, are thought of as manifestations of yin and yang respectively. Everything has both yin and yang aspects. For example, we could not have appreciated light had there been no darkness, and shadow could not have existed without there being light. In the next lesson, we will learn more greetings and pleasantries and common phrases like thank you. We hope you enjoyed your lesson today. See you at the alley for the next one.